Hey guys, what's up? CloneYoshi here. Today we are talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the big, heavy slasher movies of all time. Yeah, we talked about the first Friday the 13th, this past Friday the 13th in September. So yeah, I decided to do Nightmare because we're gonna eventually need to talk about Freddy vs. Jason at some point. So let's get into this Nightmare movie. This is pretty good for the genre as a whole, I would say. This is like one of the top tier slasher movies I ever made, probably. I think it helped this genre a lot. I would say it revolutionized the genre at all. I think the genre is going pretty heavy at this point, as it is. But yeah, this movie is amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty good. It is like classic slasher movie, but unlike Michael, Leatherface, or Jason, Freddy actually talks to his victims, and yeah, that's probably one of the best things about the Nightmare movies is that Freddy actually has like a personality rather than mysterious guy or unkillable machine type thing. Even though he is an unkillable machine, kinda, he actually has something more to him rather than this unstoppable force trying to kill you type thing. That's why I think out of the slashers, Freddy's probably my favorite. He just has the personality that rocks. I don't know. Speaking of, his personality is not completely formed in this movie yet. This one's a lot more horror, where the sequels become a bit more comedy-based, and Freddy's throwing out one-liners in the sequels and stuff. This is a bit more grounded Freddy, so we still have a little bit until we get to what most people consider Freddy Krueger to be, which I would say is probably around part 3. Part 2 is almost there, but part 2 has a lot of weird stuff in it. But part 3 is probably where most people consider Freddy to really be himself. But yes, this movie has a lot of interesting kills. I like this movie and this franchise as a whole because its premise allows it to be a bit more creative than most slasher franchises can be, because it's a nightmare, so you can do anything really, because it's a dream. As long as it makes sense in a dream mind, it kinda works in these movies. So yeah. There's always something interesting going on in these movies, and I feel like this franchise probably has some of the best memorable moments of any slasher franchise. I mean, they all have memorable moments, but I feel like Nightmare probably has the most consistent memorable moments, and like the films themselves or have a better ratio of being able to hold off on their own without those moments being the main thing that people talk about, like in Friday, where people just care about like the most important kills, really, because Friday movies are pretty much the same movie but slightly different each time. Nightmare, same thing, but like you get different personalities affecting the dreams, and that allows for different kills and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, this movie starts off kind of like Psycho, and Wes Craven does this a few times, where you think you're going to be following this one protagonist, where nope, that protagonist dies, and you're following another protagonist. But unlike Psycho, it's not the person that killed the first protagonist. So yeah, I feel like Wes Craven likes Psycho because this I feel like he gets a lot of inspiration pacing-wise from Psycho too. But yeah, the kills in this movie are also outstanding. You probably know most of these kills and most of these scenes. A lot of these effects are really good. I feel like this is all practical effects. I don't think CG was really a thing yet. But you got the Tina kill with the rotating room and stuff, and you got, well, the room's not rotating, she's just on the walls, but they, like, to do that, they, like, rotated the room in real life and had the cameras kind of stuck in place. Then you got Johnny Depp's kill, which is also memorable. And then I think the only lame kill might be Rad, or whatever his name is, the guy who gets arrested for Tina's murder. His kill's probably the lamest one in this movie. Maybe the mom. I don't know. Because the mom becomes like a blow-up doll for like 5 seconds and Freddy just pulls her through the door. So, I don't know. These kills are interesting, and I think the dream stuff like allows for like interesting effects to happen, and you can like actually test out some effects in these movies where you probably wouldn't have the chance to test out some of these weird things in other movies, like the long-armed Freddy thing at the beginning with Tina. Even though it looks kind of crappy, I don't think people would really test this out in other movies outside of this movie. Like, it's interesting to test type of thing. I think another memorable thing is from that same scene is when he rips off his face, and like you see the skull, and then like he cuts off his fingers and all that. And another thing to note about this movie is like in this movie Freddy's not like fully what he is yet, because he's not completely born either. Like with the personality, he's not like completely born in this movie, like in future movies where he's completely born. Like outside of his face, I think the rest of his body looks normal in this movie. He just has maggots that are in there when he cuts up in his skin. But yeah, some other things to note is that this movie is just really like resonates with people. I think a lot of people like remember this movie a lot more than a Friday movie. I think people remember moments from Friday movies where with Nightmare you remember the movies themselves. I don't know if you can say that about most of the slasher movies. I'm sorry, most of the initial movies in the slasher franchises, you can be like, yeah, I remember that movie, but like the sequels, are you gonna, obviously you're a die-hard horror fan, are you gonna remember stuff outside of the memorable kills? I don't know, like maybe Halloween, but Halloween's kind of like so confusing in some of the sequels that I'm sure if you only watch it once or twice, you'll be like, I forget half of this stuff, like the cult stuff, you know? But yeah, that's for another time. Anyway, this movie is just like, hey, here's some kills, and here's some cool ways to kill people. Yeah. Some other things to note in this movie is that Evil Dead is playing on the TV. Why am I bringing that up? Is because Evil Dead's technically connected to this universe through Friday the 13th. Because Part 9 has the Necronomicon and the dagger on the Voorhees table. So yeah, it's kind of connected, and there's a comic that's like a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason, where it's Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which is Ash fighting Freddy vs. Jason. And I think they were going to make that into a movie at some point, but they didn't. well. But yeah, this is a weird movie. I won't say it's weird, but even though I just said it's weird, it's like interesting kills. So yeah, there's some interesting like dream stuff in here, and like I don't know. It's just a lot of interesting stuff that happens in this movie, and I feel like Wes Craven did a awesome job at this movie. And yeah, some of the sequels kind of suck. Some of the sequels are kind of good. So if you're looking for some nightmare movies, be wary of some of the sequels and be accepting of others. Some of them are bad, some of them are good, some of them are okay, and some of them kind of do some different things. Like Part 2 is like weird because it tries to do some different things with it that like none of the other sequels really touch again ever. But yeah, I also feel like this franchise has some more continuity within it in the sequels than Friday does, and maybe Halloween. It has more continuity than Texas Chainsaw, I feel like. But yeah, the continuity, like I feel like characters show back up in a lot of these movies, so I feel like the continuity is like addressed in these movies, where like Friday, some of the characters will show up and then like be completely dropped, and then like they'll leave threads in some movies to never be seen again, where like Nightmare kind of like still keeps those threads that need to be kept type thing, and brings some threads back that you thought were gone. Like in Part 3, one of the threads from Part 1 comes back. If you haven't seen it, I won't say anything more. But yeah, I think people who worked on Nightmare cared more about Nightmare than they actually cared about Friday or Texas Chainsaw, or I don't know about Halloween. I think Halloween had some different circumstances that like the original idea, like nobody liked the original idea. So yeah, I'll talk about that later when I do Halloween itself. But yeah, these movies, if you have not seen A Nightmare on Elm Street, check out the original at least. And if you like that, check out like Part 3 and then maybe Part 4. And also check out New Nightmare. New Nightmare is kind of like a, I wouldn't call it a reboot. It's kind of like a, its own thing, but it's like meta-textual on the original Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And it's based in the real life rather than on Elm Street, so yeah. Then you could probably leave the remake alone. I'll say that now. So don't mess with the remake. The remake is kind of just like meh. It's kind of like, it kind of messes up some of the characterization and stuff like that, and I don't know, it just doesn't really work that well. If you like the remake, that's on you. That's cool. If you want to talk about why you like the remake, let me know in the comments, I guess. Be interested to hear your opinion. If you do like the remake, have you watched the rest of these? If you have, how do you compare the remake to the rest of the series? That's something I'm interested to hear about. But until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow when I review Evil Dead. See you guys then. Peace out. Hey guys, what's up? CloneYoshi here. You can probably tell what day I'm filming this if you've been watching all these reviews. But anyway, I'm here to talk about the average YouTube stuff. What is up? So, if you haven't already, subscribe and then hit that bell to get those notifications so you never miss a video. And then if you like this video, like it. If not, I don't care. And then if you have anything interesting to say, post it in the comments. And then share it with your friends if you really like this video and stuff. It will help the channel grow. And yeah. So thank you for doing all that stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
3-day weekend! Yeah!